Hey Flosstube, it's Julie, the Gulf Coast Stitcher. Today is, I should know this already, Wednesday, May 16th. It's about 10:30 in the morning, Central Standard Time, and I just wanted to drop in and go through all kinds of stuff with you guys. The first thing I'd like to address is a life update. Many of you know me, we communicate regularly, or maybe you've seen it through Facebook. But my father on Mother's Day took a serious fall in a parking lot. His fall resulted in a broken neck, a break at C2, his second vertebra, and a broken arm. And right now, the neurosurgeon came in and told us as a family that in his 24 years of doing neurosurgery and dealing with cervical breaks, that he has never had a cervical break at C2 that was fully involved, which means everything else was affected that did not result in quadriplegia. So right now, everything's good. He has feeling and everything. The bad thing right now is that he has so much fluid and blood built up in this section of his spinal cord that he's unable to eat or drink. So they've put in a feeding tube down his nose. And they've changed his collar to a halo where he has absolutely no movement because, true to form, he was wanting to tell stories and he felt okay, especially when on pain medicine. And just moving his neck an eighth of an inch delays the healing process. So they have completely immobilized his neck. So when we visit, we have to stand at the foot of the bed and all of those things. And then the broken arm cannot be operated on, and they're going to try again for Friday morning. So that's probably the most miserable part for him, is his arm is broken here, very severely broken, like not lined up. And it's just an ace bandage because they can't put him to sleep for surgery because they can't run the intubation tube down his throat because of all the things going on in his cervical area. So that's what's going on with him. The scary part about all of that is that you want to rest assured that he's in the best hands. He's in the hospital. He's doing the best thing. They're doing the best things for him that they can. However, they're still telling us that he has an 85% chance of developing paralysis. And if he does develop paralysis, it would be quadriplegia because of where the break is. So every time they move him, every time he has to cough, or any time anything happens, everyone kind of holds their breath. He's in great spirits, though. I honestly think he thought he was going to get to come home after arm surgery. So he was really, his mood and morale was really down on, what's today? Wednesday? On Tuesday. On Monday. He thought he would be able to have his arm set and then leave with his collar on and then, live his life. And I don't think the gravity of the situation is really kicked in, partially because they're managing his pain, and I think that changes how you perceive things. But at any rate, he is still with us today. Today is Wednesday. Every day is a gift and a blessing, but as you can imagine, this has been quite the impact on Sarah and on myself. It's just a lot to process and deal with. It's hard to see your parents or anyone you love in a position that you're completely vulnerable in, that they're completely vulnerable in. So that's a thing. That's what's happening. So if I am a day late in replying to you, or I'm just not as present as you're used to me being on social media or by text or by phone call, that's why. Because it takes about an hour for us to get to the hospital that he's at from where we live, which is fine. I mean, that's a blessing too, because if his spinal situation doesn't improve, if the swelling and bleeding doesn't stop on his spinal cord, they're going to fly him to Shands at University of Florida in Gainesville, and that will be a whole nother set of challenges because I will want to be visiting him and seeing him, and that is 7 7 hours on a good day's drive each way for me. So right now I'm happy with an hour each way, but that does add up to taking, time off of all the other things. I started school again this week. It's not nearly as intense as it was last semester. I'm taking only 2 classes. However, the summer semester is condensed, so they're a little heavier in the workload. But that's all good. I'm managing that. So I just wanted to kind of update you guys on that. So all of that intense life business aside, I want to share a story with you that I think that regardless of what you believe in spiritually, religiously, if you believe the universe lines people up, I had a kind of amazing thing happen to me. So that was Sunday that my father fell. It was Monday before we all convened and were able to visit him, and because it was late Sunday night when he fell. And I had a rough day Monday. Monday was an emotional day. It was a day I was processing all that's happening with him. I mean, he's not young. He's 78 years old this year, and he's a cantankerous, has a big old social life. In fact, he has as many or more friends that he sees regularly than I do. So, it was just a lot to take in on Monday. So I came home Monday to a priority mailbox on my stoop, and I knew one of my customers and friends on Facebook had messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm destashing. Do you want any of this stuff? There are some prairie schoolers in here, and there is a Charlie Harper." And I said, "Absolutely." And whatever I don't take or want, I can pass the stash on maybe to Michelle, and she can list it for her Alzheimer's research fundraising initiative. So I said, yeah, I'll take it. So I came home, and I didn't give it another thought. A lot of things had happened in my life since then, and I honestly, and she told me, I shipped it, it's coming, but I honestly just I didn't have presence of mind to think about it at that time. So I got home, and there's this huge box, and Danny was like, did you order something from Priority? And I started going through it, and I'm not going to go through it all with you here on the channel, but I'm going to hit a few highlight things that are definitely going to make their way to my whips, like as in this week. I'm going to start them as soon as possible. But the one chart that I just loved from the second I saw it was this one. So this is Kingsland exemplar. Okay, now there's a few there's a few interesting things about this. Number one, this tag from the Stitchery House, that was the LNS here locally where I live for years. And I'd have to look to see where this was shipped from. Hold, please. I really want to tell you this. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So I should have remembered this because I've had this conversation with my customer about it. This came to me from Opp, Alabama. Well, fun fact, my dad was not born in Opp, Alabama, but he was raised there on a cotton farm. His father worked there as a jailer. And so Opp is a place, the city of opportunity, where I've spent a lot of time as a kid. I absolutely love the Christmas parade there. It's a small town parade through downtown Christmas parade, which is fantastic. But I'm getting there. Okay, this is a lot of information, but it all falls into place really interestingly. So this chart I loved. The Stitchery House was, and I'd have to look up when they closed. Y'all, it was a long time ago. This was so long ago that our area code was 904 back then. It's 850 now. I would say it was 904 in the late 80s, early 90s. So this chart made its way from the Stitchery House to whoever knows where, ended up in Opp, Alabama, was gifted back to me. And it came to me on a day that I just needed some happy mail. And I have gotten some happy mail lately, and I'll talk about that with you. I'm always really, I try to be kind of reserved about the happy mail. It can be perceived by some on Flosstube that that's why people do Flosstube videos, is to get all the gifts and goodies, which I don't really feel that way. I definitely don't do it for that reason. And then also, to me, it can kind of almost be like showmanshipy to say, oh, these are all the things that I was given, because there may be someone out there who faithfully Flosstubes that nobody sends anything to. So I just don't do that. I don't really parade my happy mail, stitchy mail. I love seeing other people's, and I'm not judgy about it. It's just something I really don't do. My videos are like an hour long without me doing that. And I don't really get a ton of stuff. I get a few things here and there, and I'll make mention of them, and I'll make mention of them today, but this was an extra special thing just because it was an entire box of someone's de-stash stash. And I'm always hesitant to say who it was, because some people are really weird about like not wanting it shared, that it was them that passed on this stitchy kindness. So I leave all that out. But anyway, so this made its way to Opp, Alabama back to me at a day that I really needed to get it. I didn't even really get on social media much at all on Monday. I was in the hospital. I was processing all of that emotion, and I'm a type A, controlling, hold everyone together personality, and I tend to like turtle. I call it like turtling. I'm sure that's not the word, but I'm a very extroverted person, but I introvert when things are not controllable by me and are not going my way or whatever else. I just don't want to be talked to, and I just don't want to be bothered. I'm not that person. And there are times that it bubbles up to the surface and that I reach out to people, and then other times when I just compartmentalize it probably. It probably goes from years of being a police officer and dealing with lots of things that were not wonderful in the world, and being able to put those in little boxes and mentally set that aside, I think is a big deal. So I came home at a time that I needed to see this gift. It was here, opened it up, loved this chart. And also that day, I received a card, and I'm going to share her name because I've talked to her about this story already. So Deb from Country Stitches sent me a card, which was lovely, regarding an order that she had placed with me, and it was just it was great. It was a handmade card. It's beautiful. I don't have it here with me because things are everywhere. In fact, I think it's in my purse, which is in the car. But it was a wonderful, cute little card. So then I got on Instagram. Didn't really get on social media for the rest of the evening. I got on Instagram, yesterday? And Michelle, Bendy Stitchy, had an Instagram story that Deb from Country Stitchers had sent her a card, which Michelle and I are extremely connected as friends, and like we're like sister friends anyway. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. Deb sent her a card too. That's so cool. And Deb's daughter sent her bracelet. I was like, oh, this is wonderful. And then her next Insta story slide was this chart. Now, I had a moment. I actually, it was one of those moments that those compartmentalized boxes kind of opened up, and I literally just started crying because I thought there's no way that Deb could know, number one, that I needed a sweet card, a just because sweet card. There's no way that the lady who sent her stash would know that it would get to me. She mailed it to me before my father fell, that she would know that it was a time that I really needed to get some happy mail. And there's absolutely no way that Deb would know to send Michelle the same chart that was in the box that I got. And I just had to look up and say thank you. And I messaged all parties involved and said, I cannot believe that this all lined up. And we have to stitch this together now. So if anyone else out in the Stitchy universe has a copy of Kingsland, exemplar from this was published in 1991. 1991. If anybody has this chart out there and needs connection and wants to stitch it with us, this is on me and Michelle's, on my list and Michelle's list to stitch soon. So we've committed to each other that we're going to stitch it together. We're going to Skype our way through it. Thank you, Deb, for your generosity and just knowing that in whatever guiding forces guided you to send Michelle the same chart that someone else sent me. Thank you for the sweet card, and thank you for your contribution to Flosstube. I absolutely love you and Liz. Michelle, you know I love you. I'm looking forward to spending this with you. And it was just a wonderful, it was a highlight. It was a highlight in a pretty gloomy day. So that was my most favorite thing that came in that box. Not because it was my most favorite chart, because there was a lot of amazing ones, but because everything lined up for it to connect me with a sister stitcher. So thank you to everyone involved in that. So that leads me to a few other things that were in that box. Now, this is a huge priority flat rate $20 box. I'm only going to show you a few of the things that I'm currently kitting up. Look at this. Native American tapestry. It is so cool. I love this. This is a must-have. All the birds, all the colors. Doesn't say what year this, well, it probably does somewhere, and I'm just not good at eyeballing it instantaneously. It's amazing. So, that's happening. This, Mill Hill, it's Mill Hill, but there's no beads that I can tell, so I'm good with that, because I'm not a beader. Okay, I have an Ot light trying to shine some light, because it's extremely gloomy here today. So you can kind of tell more from here. So it's an alphabet sampler, but you can see here the delicate stitch work around the letters. So I absolutely love this. Victorian Beads in Boxes, it's called. Although, like I said, it doesn't call for bead. Oh, wait, it does. Mill Hill glass beads. I will not have beads on mine. I will just be stitching that. And I think I'm going to change the colorway to, like, I'm kind of stuck. I'm thinking royal blue. And then maybe like eggshell for the filigree behind the letters. Anyway, that's happening. Love that. I've been on a Charlie Harper kick. I was not a stitcher when Charlie Harper was alive and producing. But if you have Charlie Harper laying around and you want to pass the stash or loan the stash, send it this way. I would love to have it. So this is C. Harper in Stitches Catnip. Not really a cat person, but you know I'm a bird person, so I have to stitch this and this. And look at that deer. I think I'm going to make that deer into a Christmas ornament. So, super happy to get the Charlie Harper, which I knew there was going to be one in there. She had told me. I didn't know which one. I didn't know much else about it, but I was super happy to have it. This came from Heart's Desire in Wichita, Kansas. I love seeing the labels. Does anybody else love seeing where this chart started at? I love that. So this is an old Bent Creek. Old. It has a photograph on the front, and it is birds and trees. So, sampler, birds, trees. And look how cute this is. It was an envelope back in the day, I guess. Love it. So that's getting kitted up. I've never seen this. Of course, that doesn't mean anything. Well, this is not the one I was thinking of, but Colonial Flowers, Homespun Elegance. So cute. So on the back of this, I find this really interesting. If this material is not available at your local store, or any of these publications, so this is all of the publications that Homespun Elegance had at that time. It says, if any of the materials located on this book are not available in your local store, please contact Homespun Elegance. Please send $2 with a description of what you're interested in. Can you believe that? I mean, I guess I can. But for $2, you could have had any of those charts. It's crazy. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I like these. Very, I mean, I'm not crazy about the colors, but that's, who cares? And they're very Blackbirdish to me, Blackbird designish, so that's happening. And then, I did not bring half of the ones out here I wanted to show you, but like I told you, she said that there were some prairie schoolers. There were some green covered prairie schoolers, which I've never seen before either, but they're not in my immediate whip pile, so I'll share those as I get to them. But this, I mean, rabbits were in clothes, people. Look at that. This came from Michael's for $4 back in whenever. It says $4.88, so I wonder if that was the date. Yeah, this was produced in 1988, and this price sticker, it looks like it's got a date stamp of $4.88, so I'm assuming April of '88. I'm stoked about this. Thank you so much for sending this. I absolutely love it. So that is happening. And then there was some little there was a ton of prairie school. There was Santas, there was all kinds of stuff, but they're not kitted up yet. This chart is completely outside of my normal comfort zone. Nothing that I would ever in a million years pick up. I don't know if it was the moment, the day, the peak of my whatever. I have not been able to stop thinking about this. I'll follow this up, but this is Leisure Arts Noble Companions Book 2. So there's 2 charts in this. This one and this one. Like I said, this is nothing that I would ever do. I do not like stitching on dark fabric. I've gifted away almost all of the fabric that I have. I bought all the chalk on for the homes and chalk of the months and then gifted them all away because I can't do the chalkboard fabric. But I've ordered 3 different fabrics in blue. I have to do this in blue. There's something about the way it's in blue, the way that it's framed. I vision it in blue with a gold gilded frame. I don't know that the matting will be gold, but this is happening. So I open it up, I start looking through it, and I'm not going to show you the chart, but this is old school. Remember these? Before things were just on paper. There are a few fractional stitches. The rest is cross stitch. And when at first glance, I was like, oh, I'll never do that because there's a ton of back stitching. There's not a ton of back stitching. There really is not. There's a ton of color changes. So that's why it has that realistic look. So then I start researching because that's what you do, right? I don't know a year on this. I'm sure somebody out there in Stitchy World knows exactly. 1991. So I start researching because that's what you do. Go to eBay. I have a hair in my lipstick. Go to eBay, start looking around, go everywhere, and then I find book 1. Buy now. Absolutely. $4. Have to have it. And then, and with closer inspection, I'm going through the box and I'm sending photos to Michelle, going through the box of all the goodness that's in here. And I found book 1. So I'm going to have 2 copies of book 1, so stand by for one of them to be a giveaway. This is book 1, The Enchanted Sleigh. Now this fabric's quite a bit lighter than this fabric, at least that's how it's pictured. So I ordered both kinds, because who knows? And I'm going to do this, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to do this on 16 count Aida. For one, I can order that in navy, and it'll be true navy, because linen just doesn't dye the same. And number 2, this is way outside my comfort zone, and I think it's so involved with the color changes and the little confetti that having to keep up with 2/2, I'm not there yet. So I'm going to at least do one of them on 16, and then I may change my mind as it goes. But can you just die? Aren't these just... like, this is exactly how I want this finished, too. Well, maybe not with the blue matting, because that screams 1991. But I love the gold gilded frame. I love how ornate it looks. Totally outside my comfort zone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody wants to pass the stash? Anyone who wants to de-stash? I'm telling you to do it. If there are things sitting in your craft room, in your bins, in your boxes that you're never going to use, that you just don't... I mean, some of the stuff's from 91. I'm not saying that that's when she got it, but that's when it came out. And if you just don't think that you're ever going to touch something again, set it free. Because there may be someone just like me. In fact, it may be me. Feel free to send it to me if you want to. If I don't want it, I'll send it on and let Michelle sell it for Alzheimer's research. There may be someone somewhere that just needed that little bit of sunshine, that gift, that box of goodness contained something in there that spoke to their life. For me, this week, it has been this chart. And like I said, you can watch Michelle's last Stitchy update, and she goes into a whole thing about it. At that point when she did that, she didn't know that I had received it because I got it the same day. But I needed that. Thank you. Please don't sit on your stash forever. Like, sit on the things that you think you're going to stitch. But the lady who passed this to me, she knew either she's already done them or she's not going to do them. So she was cleaning out. And she's still a stitcher because she buys stuff for me. But the gift and blessing that was, she probably, words can't say it. But thank you. So that takes me to other things that I've gotten. So I also got, and I don't have it here because I'm a horribly unorganized person trying to squeeze this video in a very chaotic week. I received an Altoid tin with my name, or with my initial and a little bird in 2018 on it. So I took that to my stitch-in at EGA, which is the Embroiderer Guild of America. We had our May luncheon, so I had the best time, and I have a few pictures. I don't know how to insert pictures into iMovie. I need to figure that out. But we had tons of food. We had 5 or 6 hours or so of stitching and talking and chatting and eating. I got to spend some quality time with Robbie. Robbie, I love you. Thank you for being there for me, and I especially loved our after retreat coffee date that we impromptu had, and it was wonderful. Yeah, so I had a great time there. I took my little tin, and it was perfect because it has a magnet strip in it. I put my needles in it and put my needle threader because sometimes I have to cheat, especially if the lighting is not good. And the other thing that I took with me, and I've raved about this, the day I got this, I emailed Kelly. I was her first purchase, and I was like, I'm instantly in love with this, and I want more, because that's just what we do. But I got a Bitsy Bob. Now, I would have bought more that she had right there, but I'm one of the, like, 5 people in the world that's not 100% a bee fanatic. I stitch the bee charts, some of them. They have to speak to my style in another way. I don't just love something because it has a bee on it. And this, I do like the flowers. If she had some with birds, they'd all be gone already. But she did send me some previews of future fabrics, so there are more of these in my future for sure. But this is a Bitsy Bob. And you might be saying, I don't need a Bitsy Bob. It just looks like a mini project bag. Don't be fooled, people. You need this. Don't look at all the junk that's in it, but... So, this is felt. This is a super cute, she did this with her embroidery machine and also did those little bobbins. So, you know, you're sitting in your chair, you're stitching, you get up and you're like, where is that strand of silk that I know I just had? I should have a strand somewhere and you can't find it, and then it gets wrapped up in the vacuum cleaner or stuck to your clothes and then it goes to the washer and the dryer. This will stop that. You use your threads, you wind up whatever plies are left, and then you just stick them, mash them onto the felt. Oh, I just lost one, but it was really thick. They stick. I don't know that that's even my favorite part about that. That is a super favorite part about this, and that is probably the most useful part. I will say that I'm going to talk to Kelly and see if she can make one that's maybe like 3 inches wider so that I can have them for different size projects. Then there's a pocket. And I took this to my stitch-in with the guild, so there's DMC in here, and then there's a pack of boa needles. And I know what you're thinking, Julie, you love Pat Carson's favorite needles. Why do you have boa needles? Because I sold all of my size 28s, and I'm stitching on 40 count. So I had to do what I had to do. Wasn't my favorite, but until size 28s come back in stock, I'm using Bowens for the 40 count. But my favorite, the felt mat is amazing. The other thing... And this, I don't have a single scissor fob. I don't have any scissor keeps. But this bee has a magnet in it. So when I'm sitting on my chair, I have this laid out on the arm of the chair. It holds my scissors and it holds my floss. So if you're a sewist and you're tired of making project bags, you can make these for yourself. You can make one of these for me. Kelly, I committed to buying more. She was like, don't feel obligated. You don't have to. No, I have to. I have to because this is probably my top must-have. My project bags, my bag that holds my project bags, this Bitsy Bob, Pat Carson's favorite needles, and a sharp pair of scissors. I'm good. That's all I need. It's not all I'm going to have and buy, but that's all I need. And it has snap closures instead of like janky Velcro, which a lot of people... I've bought some project bags off Etsy lately that have Velcro closures. No thanks. Isn't that awesome? So, stay tuned for more fabrics. Check That's So Kelly Co. on the regular to see as she's uploading more. I'm sure she'll coordinate with Joan and there'll be matchy-matchy things because stitchers need matchy-matchy things. Project bags made by Mama Joan is what I'm referring to there. So, Bitsy Bob, if you don't have one, get one. If you have one and you think you only need one, you're crazy. If you want something to gift to a stitchy friend, something like this is wonderful. I love it. So, yeah. Okay, I'll show you the stitchy progress. Most of the stitchy progress I made at Guild. So, Sally Spencer from Birds of a Feather. This is hashtag Mustang Sally Sal. A little Neato minder. So I've made some progress. I'd say I'm at the halfway point for sure. Maybe a little better than halfway. On the original sampler, I'm stitching that on 40 count vintage buttercream by Lakeside Linens, which is, besides X-Jude, that's probably my favorite fabric. You can't, I don't know if you can see in this picture, but there's all these little initials everywhere. So there's lowercase letters throughout the alphabet, which is cool, but then there's all these little initials. Like you can see there's like a PS up here. So I decided ixnay with the initials, and I'm adding in the initials of my friends near and dear who are stitching along. I've only added one set because I'm not to the edges yet, but I added MG, Michelle Garrett, and then I will be adding Donna Ray. I will be adding all of the ladies' initials who that I'm friends with, whose posts I see on the hashtag Mustang Sally sampler. So I thought that would be cool. Just a way to personalize it. I don't know who all of the initials are for Sally Spencer, but I know who they are for me, and then every time I look at it, I can think about the fun that we've had sharing our progress on that chart. So, lots more initials to come, lots more work to come on that. As you can imagine, I haven't had a ton of time to stitch. Okay, that's going to take me into a book review. Hold, please. I always say that this is going to be short and sweet, 33 minutes in. But you can watch me in parts, right? That's fair. I've talked about this book till I'm blue in the face. I'm going to just show you, because I'm listening to it on Audible. I will show you the cover, briefly talk about it. I've posted about it on social media. Why is everything so slow when you don't want it to be? Okay. I have only 21 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in this. My phone, oh my word, how dirty is that? Sorry. A Higher Loyalty by James Comey. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care what you think you know about anything that has to do with the FBI, the role of the director of the FBI. It doesn't matter. It's not that kind of book. It's called A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership by James Comey. As you know, he was the director of the FBI for, I think, almost 4 years, if memory serves me. He worked, He's an attorney, a practicing attorney. I could go on, but I'll tell you that you don't even get to the Trump administration portion of this book until like probably it's 17 chapters, probably like chapter 13 or 14. So it doesn't matter what you think about any of that. It's all about like it starts in his role working for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan during 9/11. So interesting. Very interesting. There's lots of information on the role of the U.S. Attorney, the role of the FBI, and really counterintelligence. So if any of that political intrigue, I mean, it's kind of, there were times when I felt like it was kind of like watching, like reading about like an episode of Scandal. I know that's a horrible, fictitious account of politics, but there's a lot of intrigue. There's a high-speed car chase. And there's lots of talk of leadership. And the one thing, I'm in business school, as you know. The one thing about leadership, one thing that James Comey says about leadership that, and trust, that is, he's all about the whole trust situation, which is ironic that that's the position that he was put in by President Trump, allegedly. The thing that he says is there's a reservoir of trust. So a reservoir of trust collects, action after action after action to fill up that reservoir. But that reservoir can be drained with just a crack. And I loved that analogy, and I think that that's really true. Regardless of what your opinion is, like I said, politically, it's a fun read. It's a fun read, and I enjoy listening to it because it's narrated by him. So I've listened to his congressional questioning. I've listened to the interviews. I've listened to all of the things. So it's really, I have a face with his voice anyway. So that was pretty exciting for me, but listen to it in record time. Like, I don't know how many hours it is. See if it'll tell me at a quick glance. It's several hours long anyway. And I listened to it in like 2 days. I don't know how long it is, but it's fascinating. And James Comey's life, along with my life, had a lot of similar parallels, which I always think, excuse me, here are the hiccups, which I think is just one of those ironic things. Like, he was the editor of the newspaper, and he was in journalism in high school, as was I. I received journalism scholarships in high school. He then went to work for a grocer, as did I. He went to law school, as did I. Lots of there's just lots of parallels. And I was talking I was talking about this to Robbie, and I was like, so basically I could have been the director of the FBI. I was not, but I could have been, because we had very similar paths. So it was interesting. So that was the one thing I'm almost done with. The read I'm almost done with. I've talked about my favorite authors. Top 5, Neil Gaiman, John Hart, Greg Iles. I don't know that I've talked much about Rick Bragg. Rick Bragg, and I'm really mad because this is a new release book that I just bought, and I bought it from Amazon, and the jacket came all janked up, so I'm going to have to write them a letter. Rick Bragg most notably wrote All Over But the Shoutin'. He wrote a book called Ava's Man about his grandfather. He writes the closing column at the end of every issue of Southern Living magazine. He also has a book called Our Southern Selves, which, if you're from the South, lived in the South, are interested about the South, just generally like the South, it's fantastic. I mean, I could open this book up anywhere. All his writing is fantastic. I really hate that I didn't make my way to Bay Minette, Alabama, which is the closest place that it came for a book signing for him. It's at there is I think it's in Bay Minette. There's a bookstore called Page and Palette, which a lot of authors come to. It's a bookstore wine place. Like, those two things worked well together. Especially take me to a wine bar that I can spend my money on books at. That's the thing. Anyway, this is called The Best Cook in the World, Tales from My Mama's Table. I'm a cook myself. Love to cook. Love Southern recipes. Love Southern literature. This is a big old delicious fat book of everything's wonderful about it. So it's chock-a-block full of recipes and family lore. His mama never owned a cookbook her whole life, but she cooked for everybody. There's a lot, I see a lot of myself in Miss Margaret. The things, I cook Southern food. Every single January, we eat collards and cornbread and crackling cornbread, which if you don't know what that is, that might scare you if you look that up. Yeah, I use salt pork for my beans. It's just a part of who I am. It's a part of how my daughter grew up. It's part of how I grew up. My dad never used a cookbook. He cooked wonderful meals, usually seasoned with Lowry's or Zatarans. If you're from the South, you know what those are. So yeah, if you like just a good, it's a cookbook, but it's not really a cookbook. It's a book that at the beginning of every chapter has like this chapter, he talks about Sis. So Sis is probably his mother's sister in the South. I call Sarah Sissy or Sis. It's generally not your sister. It's usually your aunt, your daughter, or your mother's sister, your sis. So that's Sis and Sus are some names that we use a lot. Anyway, Sis, and this chapter is a story about Sis, and it's Sis's chicken and dressing. So there'll be a story, and then there'll be a recipe. I haven't gotten very far in this because I just got it. So then there's Clementine. So some cool family photos. Fried chicken, chicken gravy, fresh green beans, and golden potatoes. So anyway, can't wait to dig further into this. I'll finish combing it in 20 more minutes, and then I'll be able to get more into this. I read a couple chapters of this last night. But that's Rick Bragg's Best Cook in the World. I'm going to contact Amazon because I paid full price for this. And the jacket's all janked up. So this may become a giveaway if I get a new copy. So I think if you have never read Rick Bragg's books, just give a gander to the back. If you want a sample of what his writing style is like, go to his column in Southern Living. I'm sure you can find it online as well, and see if you like it. I love it. All right, so that's it. That's Happy Mail. Stitchy progress, my book reviews, Kef, this Clinique Love Pop. I'm into it. It's sitting on the table because I put it on before I started the video. Okay. Now, this is a Stitchy update. I'll pull this chair over, or this bench. This is a shop update from here on out. Most of this stuff is not listed yet. Sorry. That happens every single time. I'm sorry. Okay. I lost you for a second. That happens. Bear with me. I'm trying to pull you back up. There you go. Let me go on airplane mode because every single time we do this, although it doesn't catch everyone because I use my iPhone and my MacBook. So anyway, Stitchy update. Shop update. Most of this stuff, some of it's listed, some of it's not. Please bear with me. I'll be driving to Pensacola tonight to see my dad. I'll get what I can get done after this video uploads. Otherwise, it may be tomorrow. Not to fear. It will all be there. Here we go. Prairie Schooler 1997 Prairie Fairy. This is the cleaning fairy. See, she's got her, what is that, a mop, I guess? Got a few of those. Pins and Feathers by Brenda Gervais. I just loved this for obvious reasons. This light a little bit. Sorry. Trying to find the best place to do that there. Nothing's helping. Okay. Pins and feathers. I love that. October feast, because squirrels. Some people are skeeved out by squirrels. I love them. You know this. I feed them well. Okay, Lizzie Kate, tidings. 8? Question mark. I'm not great with Roman numerals. This is an old one. Still got a photo on the front. Got some of those. Now, if you purchase tidings, they don't have the embellishments. They didn't come with them. It says on some of the charts, embellishment packs available. I don't know how that will be, considering Lizzie Kate is no longer. But many of us have, like, Jabco stash or button pin stash. If not, you can often stitch your way through it. Occasionally there's some that do have the things with them, but okay, tell an emblem. If you look on the site, I have the Christmas versions of these. Winterberry and Poinsettia. This is Clematis. I love this. I love her stuff. So it comes with her emblem that you can put right inside there. Or you don't have to. You can stitch through it. But I love that. Dogwood. Emblem included. These are all stitched in DMC with some Krynic. I skipped the Krynic because I don't do Krynic. Love that, though. Love her things. I'm going to run out of space quick, y'all. Because I'm digging these out of the box that they came from the distributor in, literally, as we speak. Some of these are listed. This is already on the site. Thankful Sampler. This does have the embellishments. Lizzie Kate. The picture here is horrible and online is worse. But it is, it says Harvest Pilgrim Thankful. And it comes with the 2 little charts. It's hard on those old charts to find clear photos anywhere to list. Berry Days at Thistledown Farms, Brenda Gervais. Y'all, look at that. Look at that. I love everything about that. I have no idea. It's from 2017. I don't know what colors are called for, but I can already tell you that I would probably do that in ruby slippers. I don't know, though. Flora Mix Sample Treats 188, Joy Newell. This does have embellishments. Either they do or they don't, and there's not an option when I order them. So this is super cute. A lot of people are into these little stockings. I haven't stitched many of them, but there's a boatload of Blackbird ones, and I love that. And Linda Jo, she does such a good job at those. She kind of inspires me. So that may happen in my future. Like, you see how much stuff I have, like, ready to stitch. Elizabeth's Needlework Designs. Y'all know I love Elizabeth. This is Delightful Seasons. So I just thought this was bright, pretty. You can do whatever in any colorway you want. The message says there's no season. Such delight can bring us summer, autumn, winter, and the spring. And it's stitched on Ada, so you kind of get that pixelated look, but do your thing. Do it your own way. You don't have to have it that way. Okay, y'all, hold on for this one. I already had a waiting list, which has been satisfied. So these are what is left of Viva La Vida, Barbara Anna's Frida design. You can't really see this as well, but it is really pretty. That is 89 by 138 on the stitch count, so it's not too overwhelming. It's definitely narrow. I love that. So that one will undoubtedly sell out in 5 minutes' time. And Midnight. 'Tis Now the Very Witching Time of Night by William Shakespeare, and this is Barbara Anna. And she does a lot of stuff with like felt and cutouts, but you can just do the stitchy piece, which is what I will do. Or you can do the whole thing, however you want. This is 117 by 106, so that's a good stitch count for her. This is already on the shop site, but it bears showing again because this is probably one of my favorite samplers of late. This is Harriet Taylor 1842. So y'all, this looks just like my house but if you were at the water looking up towards the house. Because something to know about old houses built on the water is they're built backwards. So the front of my house is really facing the water, because why would I ever want to face the road? Which at the time this house was built was a dirt road. So we have a long wooded drive, which was actually engineered. Driveways were engineered to channel wind through a house. So if you ever go on plantation tours, I certainly don't live in a plantation, but I live in a pretty good size old house. If you ever take a plantation tour, a lot of times they have oak rows that lead up the driveway, and everybody thinks, oh, that's a beautiful, that is such a beautiful presentation for the house. It's function. It's beauty meets function. It's to draft the wind in. So my driveway is built to draft. Of course, we're on the water. The house is built where it can be completely opened up. And fun fact, we did not have air condition in Florida, central or unit. We had window units, but we just got that in 2016. So, but this house looks like my house if you looked at it from the water. So I'm going to stitch this, and I'm going to make this water instead of grass. And I think I'm also going to put one extra seawall on it. Because if you were at the water, you'd have one step up, and then stairs, and then another step up to my house. But this could totally be Sarah's room right here. This is the living room and the back porch. This is where Dan comes in and out on the side. I mean, this is my bedroom. This looks like my house, y'all. So I love that. So that's happening. It's already on the site, been on there forever, but I just wanted to show it to you again. And I ordered some restock, so that's why it's in this box. This has been on the site for a minute, but I think, again, it bears... Sounds like somebody's here. Probably post office. It bears bringing up again. Brenda Gervais Brick House Sampler. Too cool. I love the colors. I love the fact that the birds are not to scale whatsoever. If they are, that's a scary situation, but I love this. I love all the colors in this. I have all the colors in this, except for Sandcastle. Dang it. I'm sure I could sub it out. Let's see. Okay, we're going to hit some Blackbird here pretty soon, because I alluded to this last week that there would be lots of Blackbirds coming. Well, they're here. I just haven't had time to put them on the site yet. Okay. How cute is this, y'all? Reward of Merit Pincushion, Blackbird Design, The Gathering Basket. I really want to make one of these. I don't have a sewing machine, so I'd have to hand finish this, which Gerald has given me lots of confidence that I can do. But I think that would be so cool filled with like buckwheat or something heavy. I love that. Sorry I didn't take everything out of wrappers, but you guys get it. You get the point. You've seen most of this stuff before. My Heart's Design, Blackbird, Loose Feathers. I cannot say that word. Absidarian. Does that sound right? Absidarian. I think that may be right. I told you I was going to get all I could of these. I think I have all but 2, and they're not available at the distributor right now. Blackbird, they do reprints. Well, we know that they go out of print on things quite regularly, but they also do reprints. They kind of save all their reprints up and then do runs is how I'm figuring it out. At least that's the information I'm getting from the distributors. So, love that. Rosy Morning. This is number 9 in the series. So cute. Halloween Eve. We've seen this one done 1,000 times, but I just can't resist ordering it. I love that patchwork pumpkin. I love the big old bird and the skinny cat. And I love this. This reminds me of the Barbara Anna Hallows Eve motif. I love that. Bountiful Harvest. This is Loose Feathers number 4. I think it's got some satin stitch in it if you're wanting to experiment on, not a lot, just on the leaves. If you're trying to expand your stitching repertoire, that would be a good way to do it. Love that. This is a restock. I have this already on the site. But you guys sucked them up pretty fast, so I ordered some more. This is Midnight Watch. I love that moon. I'm thinking that moon's probably in toasted marshmallow. Toasted barley, I think. I lied. I don't have my glasses on. Ginger snap. That doesn't look like ginger snap, but okay. I guess it maybe is. Who am I to say? Okay. This is going to hit the floor. If you hear something crash into the floor, fear not. Okay. Try to pull all this out. Sorry about all the racket, y'all. If you're listening in earbuds, it's probably been a disaster video for you. Siri, this is Loose Feathers, Obsidian Series 6. Obsidian, I don't know how to say that. I need to Google that. So pretty. Loose Feathers, Obsidian Series 3. This is Forget Me Not. Away We Ride. This has been a huge hit in the shop. I ordered quite a few. Away We Ride. So this says, away we ride till its darkest pitch to find the home of the Wicked Witch. I may have showed y'all this before. It's running together with the past few weeks. I love that wonky house. Ugh. Have y'all watched Bates Motel? Excuse me. I watched the season finale of Bates Motel and The Fall the same night. I needed some serious emotional support. It was intense. Okay, restock alert. A lot of you have asked about Strawberry Fields. Still selling through them every time I order them. I keep thinking there's going to be an end to that. There's going to be an end to the demand. The supply demand is going to level out, but I'm still keeping up with y'all on that. And also did a restock on the Long and Winding Road for same reason. And a restock on this little guy who I love him because he's a bird wearing clothes, kind of. He's wearing a scarf and a hat. I love it. I have to do this. This is on my list. It's tiny too. 88 by 88. But you get a second design too, this little guy down here. But that's happening. And, let's see. These may already be on the site too. This is box I just got to work through restocking and filing. This is From the Heart, Neato Art by Wendy, Blackbird sampler. There's a Blackbird. There's a Cardinal sampler. And Quirks and Stitches is... She's probably one of my favorite people on Flosstube. You shouldn't have favorites, but what I mean by that is her videos, her photos on Instagram of framing. Every single thing she stitches is exactly what I want to stitch, have stitched, or is in the whip pile. So it's awesome whenever you find somebody who their style just lines up exactly with yours. So then you watch them to see what are they working on. Maybe it's something I haven't heard of yet. Maybe it's something new to me. Maybe it's something that I had that I just forgot how awesome it is. That's where I saw those and immediately had to find them. I believe she said there's a Bluebird. I didn't find that one at the distributors. So hopefully I'll locate that eventually. And there's been much ado about these on the internets. Beth Twist, I'm on auto ship with her, so I get them before distributors do. This is the Festive Little Fobs Americana edition and the Stars and Stripes Forever stockings. Stocking number 3. So cute. This is a little tiny ornament. And she did use Kryneck, but she was like, hey, you don't have to if you don't like it. She wanted to because she wanted to do it, the fireworks being, sparkly and fiery. But you could substitute them with a beautiful gold or have your, or contact me and I can help you sub that out to something. Beth has a video. I don't have a sewing machine, as I've said 1,000 times. Finishing is not my favorite thing. I actually don't really like it at all. And I don't own a single scissor fob. So her finishing tutorial on this, I think it's the $half or the silver dollar. I think it's silver dollar finishing tutorial that she has on how she does these. It doesn't really look that hard. I think I can do it. So check that out. Pretty simple. And then the last thing I want to talk about for the shop, pardon me for opening this. I was contacted by Jenny, the Long Dog Stitcher, and she said, hey, I want to do a stitch along to Lila Studios, Grow a Garden with some friends. And I don't know how much y'all know about Jenny. Go check out her channel if you haven't. She does some impressive, like, big old, huge charts. Like, she does long dogs. She may be doing Death by Cross Stitch. I don't know. She does big, intense stitchy projects, but she's never used fancy floss, or she's never acquired fancy floss. I don't know if she's ever used it, but so she reached out to me and said, hey, I would love to do this chart. Can you kit it for me? I'm not one who really likes to kit because I just don't have the place to, like, I don't have a serger, I don't have a sewing machine, so if you order anytime you get fabric from me, it's raw cut. She didn't mind that. But I was just so excited to help her because she hasn't done this before. So she's getting the chart, the floss pack, which is 12 classic colorworks and 1 DMC. And she's getting a cut of R&R's espresso and 40 count. Y'all, this smells so good. So that's coming to her. So why am I telling you what she's getting? Well, because I'm kitting up, I think maybe 8 or 10 that will be on the site. So instead of kitting them up in a total kit, I'm going to make the chart available, the cuts of R&R linen available, and the floss pack available. So, you know, it won't cost you any more. There's no, like, discount to buy it all together. I'm going to list it all separate because there might be somebody out there that just wants, that loves these colors of fancy floss. There may be someone out there that just wanted to try a cut of R&R and didn't want to spend $110 on a yard. Or somebody that just wants a chart. So stay tuned for all that. It's coming. This is going to Jenny today. But if there's a demand for it, I can do that again. So if you're a floss tuber and you are thinking about doing a stitch along, my advice to y'all as someone who has hosted and still hosts and will be hosting in the future more stitch alongs, give people time to get their stuff, because it's easy to say, oh, you can drop in our stitch along at any time whenever you get your stuff. But it's not that fun to start something like a month behind everybody else, because there are some fast stitchers out there and then you kind of feel left behind, and then the hashtag gets a little less traffic. So give people time. I don't remember when they're starting this. Check out Jenny's Long Dog DAWG Stitcher, her floss tube. If I remember, I'll link it below. She'll have more details about the stitch along that she's co-hosting. But anytime, if y'all want to do a stitch along, email me. Easiest way to get me is at jmevans@bellsouth.net. I do have the email that's attached to the website, but for some reason, I don't get all the proper notifications on that. So sometimes it takes me, I check it daily, but it doesn't come to me as fast as all the other stuff does. So Instagram's always a great way. I check those too. Check my jmevans@bellsouth.net email all the time. But if you want to, if you're interested in hosting a stitch along and you find a chart and you want the called for fabric and you want the fancy floss, I don't mind kitting all that up by special request. Just know that it's not something I normally do, but I'll be happy to do that for you. So that's it. There's so much stuff in this kitchen. I was telling Robbie, y'all, the kitchen is become stitching central, which is fine. My family is tolerant. I'm not going to say they don't mind, but they're tolerant. I just haven't, I got out of school, then I had the broken tooth and the root canal, then right into this business with my father. I just can't seem to catch up. But I'm managing to still ship 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. I will continue to do so in my absence. Sarah knows how to do that, and so does Danny. So that will happen in my absence. The only time there would ever be an issue is if we take a family vacation, which doesn't happen a whole lot, just because we're both, business owners and we've got things to do. But that being said, I'm going to wish you all well. Have a great rest of your week. I can't wait to see what you're all stitching. I'm loving the Stitch Mania. I started a new thing every day until I started to fall in love with the Sally Spencer sampler, and I haven't picked up another thing since. And you know what? I'm all right with that, because Mania is about starting, giving things attention that you have, or starting things that you want to have. And I got to that point, and I love her, and I can't wait to do all the charts that I was gifted and stitch along more things. Yeah, that's as far as I got, and I don't feel like it was a fail, because I was pulled to continue to work on the one I'm working on. So, anyway, and I'm sure y'all can see these beautiful flowers. I came home. Sunday was just a weird day. We had a great day on the water. Yeah, they're so big, but Dan did this. He did good. Sarah got me some beautiful flowers as well, but they're in the living room because the whole table can't hold all the stitchy stuff and all the flowers. So, yeah, that happened. All right, y'all. I love you. Thank you so much. Continue to stitch all the things. Sorry, Christine. I didn't mean to take that. Continue to stitch away. And to read and leave me information on your book recommendations. I'll be happy to check them out. Thank you for continuing to reach out to me in private message and let me know if there's something you're looking for or want. One last mention, Floss Club is closed for June. All the invoices, with a few exceptions, the ones I had questions about, some people signed up twice and I just wanted to make sure that they meant to before invoicing them. The Floss Club is closed for June, not to fear. I will reopen on June 1st. I will reopen the Google Doc to allow you to sign up for July. The collection of flosses is random. There's some that are kind of prim, some that are bright. It's just a random selection of fancy floss. You get Weeks, Classic Colorworks, and/or Gentle Arts in your collection. And it's a great way to start building your fancy floss stash. So if you haven't done so, you can sign up for 5 skeins or 10 skeins, $12 or $24 respectively, plus shipping. And that will reopen for the July Club on June 1st. So, okay, that's it. Love you guys. Thank you so much for lifting me up. Keep sending all your good vibes my way and keep on stitching.